welcome to AudioCode UC Talks with me, Jay Wyatt, and my colleague Jasper Filon from the Netherlands. Jasper is a service consultant and works mostly with the service provider community. So Jasper, thank you ever so much for taking the time today to talk to me. And as you've seen over the past few weeks, I've been doing a series of video blogs with Shane Hoey from APAC and Scott Middlebrooks from the USA. And we've been discussing everything Microsoft Teams, from initial deployment considerations through to legacy integration and endpoint devices. So, I mean, have you had a chance to see any of the videos that we've done so far?
Hi, Jason. Yeah, I've seen the talks, of course, and I'm really excited to be on them. So thanks for inviting me. I think they're really cool, short informational bits talking about Teams and all the aspects. So looking forward to it.
Well, it's the whole purpose, I guess, with the call, really, Jasper, is, I thought it'd be really interesting to understand, what's kind of been happening within your region over the last few months. I mean, with COVID-19 and the lockdown, it's put a hell of a lot of pressure and stress on many businesses. And I've had different sort of feedback from different regions. I was talking to Sammy D in France last week, who was saying that a lot of the organisations they've been talking to, sort of January, February this year, who were sort of primed to go Teams, suddenly sort of implemented it rather quickly. So have you seen a surge in demand from customers, partners implementing Microsoft Teams?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I work mostly with service providers in my region. So it's Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, and COVID-19 definitely it's speeding up digital adoption all over the world. So not so much companies who weren't into Teams are into Teams now, but companies who were working on the rollout, they're now accelerating it, pushing it forward faster. At the same time, we have seen the new licensing model from Microsoft also has a very big impact. So for those who don't know, Teams used to be really for a large enterprise market, and now with the business licenses, Microsoft makes it available to the small office, home office market. And especially for service provider, that's a vastly different approach. They used to do big enterprise projects where they would have project managers, dedicated engineering team, make a design per customer. And that doesn't scale when you go to the SOHO market. So everybody is looking into new ways of making customer onboarding automatic, making the whole process as hands-off as possible. So that's a really different approach for what we've seen in the months or the year before.
Okay, and that's some really interesting points, and so thinking with service providers in mind, what are the sort of key considerations that they need to sort of understand when moving their customers to a full Teams environment and enabling full enterprise voice?
So in the bare basic, Teams is just another PBX. So from a service provider perspective, you deliver a SIP trunk, you make sure it complies with whatever Microsoft decided it has to be, and you're good to go. But at the same time, it makes it even more important to be able to differentiate your product offering from what other service providers offers. Everyone can offer a SIP trunk, and when you're going to compete down on the per minute pricing, it's no fun for anyone. So everybody is looking into what they can offer as a value add on top of their SIP trunk. They're looking into things like devices, obviously, but also services. Think about compliance recording for those industries that need it. Maybe additional reporting, more insights in what's happening. So everybody is looking into what makes their company unique as a service provider and how to translate that into their Teams offering.
Okay, and we talked briefly about the SOHO side of things, and I know we did talk about this previously, but I really want to sort of drill into your experience with service providers. And the reason I want to sort of focus on this is a particular area is that in the UK, as you quite rightly pointed out, Microsoft have changed the licensing plans for small businesses, and now we have business voice. So what I've seen with some of the service providers in the UK and certainly the other regions where business voice is available, is that service providers are now actually transitioning it and actually productizing a small business offering to make them competitive against that business voice solution. Have you seen the same in the Netherlands?
Yeah, definitely. And it's for every service provider, it's a decision between, do I jump on the bandwagon and go full out with my Teams offering and push that, or do I take a good look at my other hosted PBX or PBX as a service offering, and do I compete? There might be different departments within the same company who has to decide whether or not they pick one side or another.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an interesting dynamic. What we also see is that, especially for the solo market, it's not always easy to find an offer that competes very well with calling plans from Microsoft.
Yeah.
You have your usual SIP trunk pricing, often with some flat fee minute offering. And then when they have to put the trunk to Teams on top of it and have some support on top of it, because of course we all say Teams is just another PBX, but it works a little bit different, and you'll have to do some more configuration, and you might expect some additional questions.
Yeah.
It's not always easy to find an offering that matches within the pricing structure you're trying to achieve.
No, I absolutely get that. And one thing that I keep trying to kind of articulate to the service providers and partners alike, because we're seeing more partners stepping up into that service provider kind of arena, is that whilst they're looking at Microsoft Business Voice and they're saying, okay, so Microsoft offering a calling plan, conference facilities, and phone system, all for one really attractive competitive price, there's still the element of management and providing a managed service on top of that. So when they're actually formulating and putting their own solutions together, not to discredit or discount the move, add, changes and deletes aspect, the managed service aspect, on top of that. So rather than thinking they've got to get in at the same price and be an all-inclusive solution, they can still add those value-add services on top. We're kind of running a little bit short on time, so I just lastly want to ask you, Jasper, what's the best advice you could give any organization that's deployed Microsoft Teams to get them through lockdown to help them embrace Teams when they resume kind of normal business?
From my experience, you have to get like some unwritten rules within the company on how to use all the different communication channels you have. So yeah. It's if you have Teams and you only use it to call your colleagues, and use it as a replacement of your phone, it doesn't bring you anything. And I try to consciously think about, okay, the message I'm going to send to somebody else, is it urgent? I'll call them. If it's not urgent, I'll probably send them a chat or an email, depending on my mood and what the other party likes. But if it's a question that I think multiple people can answer or multiple people benefit from knowing the answer, I'll try to find the correct Teams chat and ask it in a channel so everyone can collaborate. And having that balance on when do I call, when do I chat, that has to become like second nature to get the most out of Teams. And then you will get a lasting effect and hopefully less of those email bombs with 100 people in the CC field, while a Teams chat is much more accessible for everyone. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but that's really great, and thank you ever so much. Guys, if there's anything we've discussed today, please feel free to email me at uctalks@audiocodes.com. Please hit like if you enjoy the video, and of course, feel free to share. And also, please look out for more videos from the UC Talks team. Thank you ever so much.
Thanks a lot, Jay. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jasper.